I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. My life is not worth anything. So why even bother? I just touched rock bottom and I started spiraling into just overworking, just making money, drinking, partying, being with women. Today's society worships individuality, only to realize that it's been running full speed in the wrong direction. I've worked with many entrepreneurs that find themselves in this place. I know people that are millionaires, billionaires, and are miserable.
Today's guest is an international speaker and best-selling author who helps leaders transform crisis into courage and build life truly worth living. This is Nicolas Canon.
Positive thinkers are often very anxious people. Anxiety is not a negative emotion. We cannot punish ourselves into a better life. Greatest productivity hack is be at peace in your mind, excited for what you want to do, and without fears. Anger is super useful. Super useful, necessary emotion if we are stewards of it. If we're not, any emotion will consume us.
Nicholas, I could read out your bio. I want to hear it from you. If you were to meet a stranger at a dinner party and they asked, "Who are you really?" Not what you do, but who you are, how would you answer?
Depends what kind of party. Yeah, very simple actually. I help people reconnect to what's real in life. That's the core of it. Some people call that being a spiritual teacher, but the word spirituality has been very twisted and it's often used to go deeper into the mind, into fantasy, into belief, blind faith about what we think God is, about blind faith over scriptures, which lead to a lot of righteousness, conflict. So spirituality has become, over time, the opposite of what it really is, which is learning to live. Being so connected to life that we see the miracle that it is. And we connect to that. Being so involved with this creation that we witness directly the creator and we feel his, her presence. Most spirituality actually pulls people out of their life into their mind, into thoughts, into assumptions. When in reality, it's like being spiritual is all about learning to embrace our humanity and live it well. So when someone asks me, I say,
Yeah.
I help people connect to what's real. Like what is truly real? You know,
Yeah, what's real?
yeah.
That's my next question.
What's real is what's left when we take out everything every piece of clothing, every mask we've worn along the way. What's real is the experience of being alive, being present, which has different expressions: joy, bliss, health, abundance, love, 1,000 different expressions to being in harmony with life. Part of the adventure requires that requires a struggle, requires for us to forget and then make our way back to remembering. If I've never had an experience as a spiritual experience and that was tangible, that was direct, I cannot know what it means to seek God or to come closer to the source, to the universe. I don't know that, because how do you look for something that you don't know?
Or is not tangible?
Yeah, like if right now I tell you a random word, Pepito, I'm like, why don't you look for that in the room? What are you looking for? You don't know if it's small, if it's big, what color it is, what shape. You waste your time. I mean, somebody else describes it to you, but that's their own version of it, and you may spend your whole life chasing somebody else's fantasy, right? Now, this is what most people, or most of us, do in our spiritual journey. We chase something that somebody told us, that we read somewhere else. It's someone else's regurgitated version of truth, and it's like Chinese whispers. The more it's passed on, it arrives to us a little twisted, and ultimately we don't know what we're looking for. However, okay, I don't really know where I'm going, but what I can pay attention to is maybe seeing more clearly. All right, maybe I don't know who I am truly, but my body and my experience of life will make damn sure to show me and make me feel who I am not. So that's the breadcrumb trail. Okay, like, so everybody tells you, oh, you are God, you're an extension of the creator, we are one. And it may be accurate, but it's not real. Like, if I have not felt it as a personal experience, It's just a thought. Oh, we are one. That's useless unless I experience you as an extension of myself.
We're
Feels
just
this.
collecting things, but we are not executing them.
Yeah, that's one thing. Or
Mm.
collecting things that are just putting us deeper into the mind and disconnecting us from our life experience. So how do I find what's real? Well, we don't know what's real.
Mm.
Starting there, I don't know. I don't know is real.
Mm.
Me saying I am lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this life is about. I've lived it in the way that my parents, my society, my teachers told me I should.
Mm.
And here I am, unfulfilled, unhappy, miserable, sick, struggling, feeling empty. Do I know who I am? Not yet. But the first point of truth that I have access to is that moment when I look at myself in the mirror and I say, I have the humility and courage to tell myself, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am, and I'm lost. That is real. And if we sit in that, the next step will show up. Life will be like, all right, you had the courage. You knocked at the door. You were
Mm.
honest. The next thing comes, the next step. But most people life never changes because they won't have it figured out before they give themselves the gift of acknowledging that
And
they don't have
accepting.
it figured out.
Mm.
Like we all want to pretend that
Yeah.
we jump into a relationship and it's beautiful and perfect marriage. It's like no, the best marriages have the people in them that have had the roughest conversations and learned how to navigate them with grace. Athletes are not just you show up and you're just magically endowed with stamina and accuracy and strength. Like you guys train
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
You guys put yourself through constant pain day after day after day after day, stretching your limits, pushing your mental, physical, emotional limits, so that when the moment of the game comes, it can look effortless. But most of us want the effortless moment without the sacrifice that it takes. We want to have our life figured out, be connected to the Creator, to life, to God, without bringing the offering.
Mm.
And the problem or the opportunity is that the offering that we bring to the altar of life is this. It's the mask. It's everything we thought ourselves to be. All traditions speak about this, from the Hindu to the Christian. Like, for those which want to enter the kingdom of heaven of God, they have to give it all up.
Mm.
And that's what it refers to. Like, give up everything we believe to be true about who we are.
Mm.
I thought I was an athlete. I thought I was a writer. I thought I was, my case, a tattoo artist. I thought I was not good enough. Sometimes those are the hardest to give up.
Yeah.
Our smallness and being willing to offer that and say, I don't know. But who I am, who I thought myself to be, just doesn't fit anymore. Just hurts to stay in that.
Mm.
Then we have a chance.
Mm. I think you just helped me solve one of the puzzles which I am going through right now, because when you said that we don't acknowledge what's happening,
Mm.
so I see myself sitting alone and I'm just not doing anything. I'm just feeling bad and sad that why am I not taking actions anymore, even though if I'm doing enough, but I just feel like I'm not doing enough. But yeah, I mean, I have not acknowledged myself first that, okay, I am feeling this.
Yeah.
And then the next part comes where, why am I feeling this now? And what will make me feel better then?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you saying another thing, that is, we are one.
Mm.
And then, but we don't feel each other as an extension of us. So what do you mean by that extension of myself? If I have to see somebody as extension of myself, how do you do that?
The what it is and the how are two different things. What it is quite literally arriving to a place where right now I see my left hand, I see my right hand. These are both me. Being able to look at you and feel experientially, not as a thought, this is me. One consciousness split into more than one body. Now, how this is different. A lot of people get there or start to have glimpses of this through plant medicines, through psychedelics. Some people experience it through lovemaking with their lover. The boundaries of our consciousness become they expand, they soften, and suddenly it feels like you are one. one energy, one life force moving in two different bodies. The whole point of spirituality is that it's become inclusive with all of life, not just with human beings, but because God, what we refer to God, is that which includes all of it, whether we judge good, bad, evil, inert, alive. God is the total sum of all of it, the creator and the totality of all of it. Being God will mean feeling one with all of it. Not looking, oh, that's something I created, no, but feeling everything is an extension of it. Now, the opposite of that is being completely isolated. And this is, I would say, maybe one of the biggest sickness of today's society, which is we have the worship. Today's society worships individuality. And it has built itself around chasing it, only to realize, usually decades later, that it's been running full speed in the wrong direction. It's like, all right, here I am in my mansion with my big car, with my bank account full of money, with my six-pack abs and my biohacking rituals, and everything is perfect in the way that I want it, and yet I'm miserable. I have no community. I have no purpose, no meaning, no connection to life. I've worked with many entrepreneurs that find themselves in this place.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the road towards understanding ourselves, sure, we have to go in here, but also eventually, and you work with a lot of athletes. Athletes can build beautiful lives on paper, and they can isolate themselves greatly from the world because they become single-pointed. And there's so much that can be missed in the process, and so much of of them thinking that life is maybe the result of a score, or that your joy is dependent on your performance, and it's just this, as if we were born to be measured by what we do or the results of what we do instead of our experience of who we're being.
So recently I just came across this interview of Sania Mirza. She's a Indian tennis star. Now she's retired. So she said in one of her interviews that reaching to your athlete pinnacle is that where your life actually starts. That's not the end goal. That's where your life starts. And I can now see what you are also mentioning it here. So, Nicholas, I have tried to think positive, do the work, and follow the advice, but I'm still anxious or unfulfilled. What am I missing?
Positive thinkers are often very anxious people. Let's say that we're sitting here recording this podcast and the walls start to crumble. Knock on wood. There's missiles coming, the bombs going off in the city. But we're positive thinkers.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. No worries. There's stones falling, people screaming, sirens, and we want to keep pretending that we can have this conversation. It's okay, bro. It's gonna be fine. Just think positively. Smoke, fire coming off. Like, if we keep pretending that it's gonna be fine, I'm not saying it's not gonna be fine, but if we ignore the truth of what's happening, we're gonna be very anxious sitting here. Like, is something gonna fall on me? Am I gonna get burned? Am I gonna make it out of life? And
Yeah.
suddenly, we could continue the conversation, but there's so much of our awareness and our mental bandwidth and emotional bandwidth that is bracing for what might happen. In my experience, anxiety is not a negative emotion, but it's the experience that we have when we refuse to feel an emotion. People are not anxious about their relationship or their work. They're anxious because there are emotions that they keep running away from, around their spouses, around their boss. Anxiety is not something that we fix. Anxiety is the alarm that sounds when we have been ignoring something. For example, people who feel very anxious and are in dysfunctional marriages, they think, oh, I feel so anxious and I need to medicate myself or do something about it. Or I need to think positively. After all, I'm married, I have children, I have a good job. In reality, the anxiety is a fire alarm that is telling you there's smoke somewhere. It's beeping. And people try to silence this alarm. Let me destroy it. Let me put on headphones. This is what anti-anxiety and usually antidepressants do.
Yeah.
There's something in your body, in your system, in your body's infinite intelligence. There's something that is telling you, pay attention.
But that is helping you just numb the body.
Imagine in the other room, things are catching fire.
Mm.
The fire alarm is here to help us take care of that before something bad really happens.
Right.
When I feel anxiety, the first thing that I do is recognize that, ooh, something is calling for my attention. And probably something that I have ignored. And I have ignored it because it's painful to look at it. I may have to drop or a relationship that may no longer work if I look at the truth.
Mm.
So first I acknowledge that the anxiety is not something I need to get rid of, but it's actually a tool, a signal that is pointing me towards something I need to pay attention to. So is pain. Pain serves the purpose of letting you know where in your body you need to pay attention to. If I don't feel pain, which there's medical conditions, there's people that literally don't feel pain, they die very young because by the time their parents realize that they cut the sole of their feet, they have a deep infection within, and these people die extremely young because they
Mm.
cannot feel pain. It's not a superpower because pain allows us, it forces us to pay attention
Mm.
physically. Like pain will make you stop whatever you're doing and oh, what happened? And you find it, and when you look at it, you see the severity of it, and you get a sense of what needs to be done.
Mm.
I have befriended the parts of me. I've befriended my grief, my fear, my rage, my anger, parts of my past that were scared of what was coming, that did not feel heard, that did not feel seen. All these open wounds, undigested emotional experiences, I've slowed down enough to look at them. Then suddenly, as I move forward, we're a unit.
Nicholas, I see a lot of people nowadays, they are doing everything right, like reading books, doing meditation, manifestation, you know, but they are still stuck. Why do you think that is? Is this the same reason?
It's similar. Usually, because a lot of the work that people do is at the level of the mind, just mindset. Let me have more ideas, more knowledge, more books, more wisdom. Most people think they're meditating, but they're just thinking with their eyes closed. So they're up here. The blockage happens at this level. You probably know, probably a dozen or a few dozen people that at some point in their life were in a horrible relationship
Mm.
and they had all the evidence. The guy was violent, he stole her money, he treated her poorly, he cheated, and she couldn't live. I heard probably hundreds of these stories when I used to work as a relationship coach.
Yeah.
Women saying they would give me the whole history of this guy. Awful, awful the stuff that he had done. I'm thinking, why are you still with him? And I wouldn't say that because for me, I knew why they were still with him. And they're like, but I just cannot live. It's like, yeah, because if it was about the mind, it would be so easy.
Mm.
But it's not about that. Most people know that sugar is not good for them.
Mm.
Going to bed too late is not good for them. We know that working out is good for us. Eating clean is good for us. So many things we know. We know. We have all the evidence. There's something in our body where there's dissociation. It's like, sure, I can think, I can look at my partner and think they're not good for me and I'm better off without them. But if in my body I feel unworthy, I feel shame, or I feel unsafe, and underneath the chaos, they give me glimpses of safety, of recognition, of validation. I'm stuck there because I have these recipes, but they're feeding me. They're feeding the part of me that's really, really calling the shots.
Mm.
So when people meditate, read books, do all these things, and they're still stuck, it's because they're going about it I don't want to say the wrong way. It's an incomplete way. They need to include the body, the emotions.
So, Nicholas, what happens with the kids whose mothers are in their respective profession, who are working mothers, and the kid is being taken care by their nannies or their close relatives? What happens then?
Ideally, children need a main, stable, consistent source of attachment and connection and love. It's not the most ideal, but it can serve greatly. It
Mm.
could be the nanny. In my case, it was my grandma. Someone with whom the feminine energy, with whom we create a healthy imprint of feminine energy.
Mm.
Maybe mom was busy, but maybe grandma was always there and we felt taken care of, loved, provided for. Subtle trauma still, because we want our mother.
Right.
But it can be minor.
Mm.
So not necessarily a bad thing. Now, the challenge is that the way that society is built today is built for what? For output. Like a woman is pregnant in a lot of countries as Few weeks later, you're back at work. You have to
Mm.
get back. In tribes, this never happened. Well, first, when we lived in tribes, maybe the parents had to go and hunt or forage or do things, but there was a tribe of elders, of people, or there was a community that could take care of the child. So the systems that were in place were supportive of everybody takes care of everybody. But
Mm.
now we have a society where it's optimized for output, productivity, success. So there's a degree of abandoning the family nucleus, and people think, well, I can just pay someone and they'll take care of it, and they'll feed them and clothe them and put them to
Mm.
sleep. And we see people like Elon Musk with a bunch of children that are clearly uh, navigating severe trauma.
They don't feel the self-worth.
Of course, yeah, it's like kind of thrown and abandoned and whatever. So super important from these core relationships, a lot of us starts forming. You know, with the mother comes abundance, with the father comes prosperity. Maybe we had a great mother, but if that was not there, or if he was there in a way that was painful, violent, or maybe very weak, if he
Absent father.
as well, yeah, like if his presence or absence
Doesn't matter.
was painful, then suddenly we have people that they can make money, but they cannot keep it, because that teaches us to protect what's valuable, consistency, structure, safety. Mom teaches us we can receive, but that teaches us to plan, to protect, to build.
Mm.
Also, want to be clear that making money is not the same as feeling abundant or being prosperous.
Mm.
I know people that are millionaires, billionaires, and are miserable. I wouldn't call them prosperous or abundant. So these are experiences where abundance is whenever I need something, I have it. Life provides for me. I trust that I'm going to be fine. It's a sense of peace and trust for the provision of God towards me. That's abundance.
Mm.
It's not the number in my bank account or how much my boss pays me.
Mm.
Abundance is knowing that I'm taken care of,
Mm.
feeling it. Wealth, prosperity is knowing that I can trust myself
Mm.
to manage what I receive and multiply it. I can trust myself to protect and lead the energy that comes my way towards a better place. So it's this sense of stability. Like I know I'm a good protector and provider of all that comes my way, right? So these are, it can be a small family with a simple income, and they can live in great abundance and great sense of prosperity. There can be millionaires that are, for whom it is never enough, like billions, and they still want to take over the rest of the world and pay people less, and it's they're like hungry ghosts. It's a lot easier to make good money when we have a good relationship with life, with receiving and with keeping and building and multiplying. I used to work as a dating coach in my 20s, dating a relationship coach. Part of the reason why I quit that was because a lot of guys were coming and we had a lot of tools and tips and techniques, conversation tips, how to dress, how to go to a nightclub, how to be a more dynamic man, how to be more curious, how to ask better questions, how to stand, body language, all these things that they contributed. But at the end of the day, even if the guy got a girlfriend, he was miserable. He was the same shy, anxious, sometimes angry guy, afraid of women, bitter towards them. And I started realizing over time that I'm just making a bit more competent this group of guys, but they have not healed. And that's dangerous. You're giving skills, you're giving tools to someone that whose heart is not in the right place. And more than that, what they came here for was they wanted to love themselves more. They wanted to feel at peace with themselves, to feel they were worthy of love. That was a big one. Like, I'm worthy of love. That never happened, even if they succeeded talking better with women and being more dynamic and flirtatious. They could have a lot of relationships and still feel unworthy of love. Oh, no woman is good enough for me. That's another trip that they will go into. And I quit because of that, because I realized the tools, the tips, the tricks, the mental stuff. Sure, it can create an external result. It can bring you a little bit closer, but the work that truly matters is when you become free from the inside. Then from that place, you don't have to think about what do I talk about, you trust yourself more. You're more relaxed, and you can create actually what matters to you and what's in alignment to who you truly are. Otherwise, we are just refining the mask. we're making a prettier mask, which is what a lot of people do.
Mm.
I'm struggling in my life. Let me read a bunch of books. Let me meditate. Let me biohack. Let me do all these things. Now I have a mask on steroids.
Mm.
There is a reason that we wear the mask over here.
Mm.
This doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah.
This speaks the truth.
Mm.
This wants to hide.
So you mentioned about how our self-worth affects when our mother doesn't pay attention or we are not so close with our mom in
Yeah.
our initial years, and with father the insecurity or the imbalances with the money. You mentioned that, right?
With
But
with the father is a relationship to the world.
okay,
That's the
relationship to
father.
the
Our
world.
mother is a relationship to ourselves.
Okay. So if somebody wants to, like in our audience, if somebody feels that they are somewhere where they have a father wound or a mother wound, and if they want to break through that, they want to heal that, how do they
Yeah.
do it? How where do they start first?
Yes. So there's different tools to go about this. A solid one is family constellations. Here in Dubai, there's incredible facilitators of that. Usually, those are very quick, powerful ways to get clear on what's the pattern that is running and work through it. So that's a powerful tool. Let's say in the work that I do with my clients, we have these ayahuasca retreats in Colombia, and same, we have different workshops where ultimately we take people into deep states of consciousness where they access their subconscious
Mm.
and they start recalling the core memories when the story started, when the wounding started. Recall it, they purge it out of their system. So that's another powerful tool. Plant medicines, psychedelics under the right guidance can open up that box of stuff that we don't know and we don't remember often. And then we can, with proper guidance, we can sort it out and come back and be a bit more whole.
Mm.
I would say the first step, no matter what, is recognizing that there's a pattern that is cyclical and that we need to do something about it. So the first thing to deal with these things is again, we go back to that. We need to be courageous enough to have the humility of saying, I'm stuck and I don't know why I'm stuck. And I want to know. There's two groups usually. There's people that are obsessed with therapy and shadow work and regurgitating the past. And very often, this tends to be people that are highly feminine inclined in their energies. There's nothing wrong with the work that is done at this level, but it can turn into a swamp where you're just constantly regurgitating the story of wounding. And it's like trying to clean a house,
Mm.
expecting for it to be perfectly clean. You can always pass your finger and find a little bit of dust. You can spend your whole life and never fully arrive to a clean house.
Mm.
There's a lot of people that get consumed in that. On the other hand, we have people that are more masculine oriented, which are more like inclined into mindset and coaching, and I'm not who I was today, so whatever you think you can create, and this is more like the Tony Robbins style,
Yeah.
hustle grind, and I'm just gonna
David Goggins.
extreme version of that.
Yeah.
Or Mosi,
Yeah.
who cares about your emotions? You're where you are today. You can create your future.
Yeah.
Like sure, you can create your future based on where you are today, but you won't enjoy it unless you're dealt with this.
Mm.
So this will allow you to create whatever life you want. True. This will allow you to enjoy it. So I'd say that's the first step, understanding that if you're stuck, whatever you're doing is not working. Maybe when it comes to my finances, I figured out I cracked it. But if every 3 months I go in and out of a relationship, maybe there's something about the way I think about women and love that isn't quite it. Or maybe it's health, right? But it starts with humility.
Mm.
And humility is nothing but just accepting the truth. The moment that you're willing to do things differently, life will present you with the right approach for you.
So Nicholas, I keep finding myself like I'm afraid to be honest with myself or others because I might lose relationships, my job, or my sense of belonging. How do I stop betraying myself?
Think first, understanding that it comes from love. We want to remain in connection. It's really painful for a child to be ostracized, casted out, alienated from the family nucleus. We need to look at whatever pattern we have of people pleasing,
Hmm.
of fear of not being honest. And instead of thinking, there's this thing that I have to smack out of me. Because sometimes it can feel like that. Like, why can't I get rid of this ugly part of me that does not allow me to speak my mind and say it how it is? The first step is always understanding that it all comes from love. Like, wow, there's a part of me that really wants to be included, to be cared for, to feel loved, and things that you can achieve that through being needed, whatnot. So always from that place, we can never change through force or rejection. If that worked, our generation will be full of happy, joyful geniuses. Because our parents were cracking the whip and, oh, you're so stupid. Why are you doing this? Like, they used a lot of criticism and punishment for most people around school, around your grades, around sports. We cannot punish ourselves into a better life.
So what's the right way then?
Whenever I have a hard time speaking the truth, the core of it is I am afraid of feeling. The only thing that stops me from telling you the truth, drawing a boundary, saying something where you may dislike me, is that I am bracing for a painful emotion that I just don't want to feel. For me to speak the truth, I have to be comfortable with feeling. And I have to be okay welcoming. Maybe it's powerlessness that comes. Maybe it's rage that comes for me. These are usually two of the bigger ones. If I'm okay with whatever I feel, I can tell you, can say, man, I'm out of here. And you can have your experience and I can have mine. And I'll take ownership for mine and you take ownership for yours. And I spoke my mind and that's it. But because powerlessness or rage, anger feels so hard to be with, and often it feels hard to be with because growing up, those were the very emotions that our parents judged and shamed out of us. You get angry, you get smacked, you get sent to your room, so your anger is not to be shown. Or you feel powerless and you realize that you got bullied or mocked, they made fun of you, or they left you alone, then I'm never again gonna allow myself to feel fragile or tender, or you feel sad. So all of these things we carry from childhood, and they show up in our relationships.
But don't you think this is how society they teach us to be? Like when you're angry, they just tell you to not show your anger, because while learning sport, that's what I have been taught. That okay, if you're angry, don't show your anger. Take it out on the court, like
Yeah.
take it out in the right way, but don't show it.
The human soul has been domesticated, and that's necessary for society to function.
What do you mean by domesticated?
The life that flows through us humans is wild. It's a part of nature. And if you look at nature, nature is wild. There's beautiful things, sunsets, hummingbirds, rainbows, tsunamis, tornadoes, tiger eating animals alive. It's wild. It's primal. That lives through us. We'd like to pretend we're above it. We clearly are not. You look around, all of society moves in the first two chakras. What's that? Sex and money, survival and procreation. We're animals still, but we want to pretend we're not. But it's important for us to understand that very often we are over-socialized, over-domesticated. The life that flows through us has been tamed and suppressed because it was very hard for daddy and mommy to be present to our anger, because they were not allowed to be present to their own anger. So we think this is something wrong. Well, nothing wrong with anger. Aggression is another thing, right? Right now, if you insult me, maybe I'll get angry. I won't be aggressive. I won't touch you. I won't raise my voice. I won't call you names. But I'll allow myself to feel the charge and I'll communicate from it. Because the charge is telling me a boundary has been crossed. And I could say things in a respectful way, connected to what I'm feeling, and you'll pierce and you'll realize, I don't fuck with this guy, you know? Anger is super useful, super useful, necessary emotion if we are stewards of it. If we're not, any emotion will consume us. The key is not in suppressing our emotions, but learning to have a good relationship with them. Because women have been shamed out of their anger for generations. Women, more than men, we have it too, but women were forced to be good girls, to shut up, to just look pretty and to not burden the husband. They had so much to say, but they were pushed down, alienated, discriminated against. Now, they're reclaiming their power in many ways, financial, being a big part of that. But society still has a very hard time with women's anger. It's like they should only be a smile and a pretty face. So with my partners, what I used to do is anger will come. It's a matter of time if we're friends or if we're lovers. until we do something where you really didn't like what I did and it touched you because we're close to each other and we're open and we're vulnerable. And that's the whole point of it, to be touched by each other, to be touched by life. And I dated many women who were aggressive. Why? My mother was aggressive. Unconsciously, I thought love includes violence. Love includes lack of boundaries. You cannot live. As a child, I could not live. My mom was being violent. Unconsciously, then in my relationships, the woman will start yelling, will start uh, on 2 occasions, physically crossing a line. And I was still stuck there. I went from that to anger was not welcome around me. They will get angry. I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And that led to them repressing it and then another set of problems. Eventually, what I will say, and I think every man or every person listening to the podcast, is one of the most important conversations we can have with our partner. And it's coming to them and looking to their eyes and saying, listen, I love you. I love every part of you. All of you is welcome here because that's what love is, which means I'm a big yes to your anger. I may not like it. I may prefer it doesn't come. But if it comes, I'm here for it. I'm a big yes. You get to be angry, but you don't get to be aggressive.
Yeah,
And-
this part annoys me a lot sometimes. Like, if I'm angry, I'm making sure that I'm not expressing that anger. I mean, I'm making sure that I'm not letting it convert into an aggression.
Yes.
I am making sure that okay, I'm angry, but let's just find a way to communicate it in the best way possible, where I'm not raising my voice, I'm not using any swears. But this is what I see with a lot of people out there. The moment they get angry, they start swearing. They start getting aggressive with their voice, with their
Yes.
words. They get very violent with their actions. I just noticed this pattern with myself where in fun, if I'm like having a banter with you, we both are just communicating. No matter how many times you're gonna swear at me, I'll be fine. But the moment there's some tension, there's some thing which hurt you or which hurt me, I'll make sure that I'm not using any swears, any bad word, not using any word which will tear you apart or will hurt you.
Yeah.
And I also expect the same at the same time.
Yeah.
Then I will also start getting more defensive,
Yes.
and that just breaks the bond.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are entitled to ask from our partners whatever we have already clearly, tangibly given first. I take good care of my health. I can demand my partner does the same. If I watch my communication and I talk to you in a way that is conscious, no matter how angry I am, I can request you do the same. Now, if I don't do it and I come and tell you, hey, don't swear at me, it's like it's hypocrisy, you know?
So I feel I'm not good enough or I'm ashamed of my failures. So I hide, procrastinate, or blame others. How do I break that cycle?
Good example, it's relationships, because most of us have been in relationships that have had decent degree of challenges. And for example, a man goes out to a party, the wife decides to stay home. He stays out longer than she would like it. She starts getting insecure. What's he doing? Who is he with? She calls him. He doesn't pick up. What's going on? She starts overthinking about it. Where did he go? When's the last time he went out? Who can he be with? Oh, he must be with other women. She goes into that. He comes a few hours later. She looks at him. She's waiting for him. Where were you? Who were you with? So disrespectful that, I called you, you didn't pick up, and you're coming home so late. And were you out with women? What was going on? Interrogation. A lot of guys can recall this. It feels off. The reason that this kind of conversation feels off is because often there's a sense of feeling controlled or judged or shamed or punished. You're a bad boy, you did something and you should not have done it. There's a mothering that is happening there. What do we crave instead? What is really needed if we want to relate? It's full ownership. What's full ownership? That he comes home and she looks at him and she understands, wow, like there's so much I don't know about what happened and why it happened. And And maybe he was out cheating, I'm not ruling that out. Like,
Mm.
but the truth that she knows is when he was away, I felt insecure. When he didn't pick up my calls, I felt afraid. I don't feel good enough. Sometimes I felt maybe I have a little extra weight and I don't look very pretty, and maybe I'm a recent mother and I feel like I haven't slept, and I'm afraid that he may find someone younger or that has time to go to the gym. And right, there's usually so many layers to it. Layers. We haven't been intimate for a while. The honest conversation would have been like he comes and she looks at him and says, "Hey," like, "Hey, how are you? Like, hey, like, can I share something with you? Is this a good time for us to have a conversation?" First, that with respect, consent. Sure, what's going on? Like, hey, you know what? When you left, I just felt so insecure and I felt afraid. And if she's being honest, she will feel it. I should be like, you know what? It's been a hard few months after we had the baby, after I've put on some weight, and I feel ugly lately, and it was painful waiting for you and not knowing where you were. And you know, if a woman comes with that honesty, like the guy will, like, if I'm in that place, I'll be like, I'll apologize. I'll be, fuck, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
Mm.
Maybe I'll share with her, you know what, actually, my phone ran out of battery and or this thing happened. I may share with her so that she understands. But more than that, next time I go out, I'm gonna think she shared her heart fully. And as that, she gave me an opportunity to rise, to lead, to step into that place. So both of us healed something there because we acknowledged the truth. So back to your question, oh, if I don't feel good enough, how do I go out of it? The hardest part is acknowledging that, feeling that, being able to speak it.
And I think a lot of people will relate to this as well. Like when someone said something mean to them when they were young about their dreams or what they want to pursue, what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done the forgiving practices and all that, but I still remember that. So what's the next step now? I mean, if I want to completely leave that behind and accept that and jump into that creative field where I'm just in complete flow.
Mm-hmm. A lot of forgiving practices come from the mind. Think about how was this useful? What are you grateful for? Like that's okay, but if the energy has not been processed, then the memories come back up, and
Mm.
that's what trauma is, or PTSD. You're looping into a past event that was painful. To come out of that loop, it needs to close. We need to digest it to finish it. A simple tool is breath work. I say a simple tool because it's a very quick way to access deeper states within ourselves that go beyond the mind. So this is not about the logical mind and what it knows, but it's about going deep into the feeling. Or like sometimes the emotion, we may have some memories, but the emotion will guide us towards the root. Where did it start? And it's usually with family, usually with parents. The breath and the hyper oxygenated state in which the body enters allows for the minds to kind of take a break and then for the body to speak. And it'll start bringing up the memories and above all the emotions that are stuck in the system. There's different tools, but what matters is that we connect with what's present. And if the emotion will amplify, manifest itself, and all that you do is you allow it, you invite it instead of saying, "Oh, I don't want to feel angry." No, more until you will literally feel your body shaking, heat in your hands, tingling. You'll feel it move. Some people cough, some people spit. There's stuff that is literally coming out of your body. There's energy that is being moved. And you're finally giving yourself permission to feel what younger you didn't have a safe space to.
Mm.
Usually the next day you feel different. You have more energy. You sleep a little bit less. You're more focused. You feel more
Mm.
inspired. This is not happening anymore. It's just
Mm.
when this is not happening, the cork floats naturally. When we're not in that state of contraction,
Mm.
our creativity, our self-trust, our joy flows naturally. It's not something we chase.
Mm.
That's the key. But we try to chase it. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a rigid schedule so that I'm productive. Greatest productivity hack is be at peace in your mind, excited for what you want to do,
Mm.
and without fears. You'll wake up and naturally you just can't help but to call and write and do this thing, and a lot of work is done and none of it feels like work.
So could shame, not the lack of talent or resources, be the real reason you are stuck?
I'd say for most people, it's the only reason that they're stuck. I would say almost anyone in the world with access to the internet can learn
Anything.
anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's all up there. There's not a lack of resources or access to resources. The realm of what you want to do in your life, there's people that have spent hundreds of hours teaching it for free. When people ask me, "Oh, you charge so much for your retreats, and what about people who don't have money?" I'm like, "Well, for people who don't have money, I spent 95% of my time creating content, and I have hundreds of videos on YouTube, hundreds of hours of free stuff, a book that is very cheap with like 12 of my greatest tools that people used to pay me good money for. It's all there. But what's not there often is the self-trust, the resourcefulness, right? It's like the issue is not the lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. And that's usually shame. I don't deserve it. But it's so much easier if I feel ashamed, so much easier to say, I don't have the money, the business, the partner that I desire, because all women in Dubai are gold diggers, because only crooked people are rich, because whatever. So much easier to create excuses than to deal with the root of it. So much easier to say that than to look in the mirror and say, you know what, actually, I think if I really tried, I could. That puts the ball on my court. And that means that if it's not happening, it's because of me, not because the government, the country, my parents. No, the resources are there. The fact that I'm alive creates resource, but the source of life, God is flowing, is moving through me. The creative intelligence that created everything that we look outside of us in its perfection. And as long as I'm breathing, I get to give that an expression. How dare I say that I don't have what it takes, or I don't have enough resources, or that I can't? People who say that they can't, that's the greatest insult to life. To me, I see it as blasphemy. Whenever I vouch for my limitations, it's like spitting on God's face. Like, how dare you say, I can't do this, I'm not good enough?
And I see this, I mean, I hear this from a lot of kids whom I'm also training, or this younger generation, especially.
Yeah.
If the moment you put them in a hard situation where they have to either think or do any hard task, the first thing I mean, without even thinking, they'll be like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't.
And that usually they learn from the parents. Parents who in their own version, in their own areas, they go to I can't. Because if I can't, I'm spared the effort. If you tell me, hey, like, jump out the window and fly, I can tell you I can't. In this case, I really can't. So I don't even have to try. That's what it means. But if you tell me, hey, Nico, build X, Y, and Z business that I want to build, and I say I can't, I'm spared the effort, because then I've given you a truth that is a dead end, which is I can't. It's an easy way out. It's a cop out,
Right.
but it's a disservice to the life that flows through us. It's a lie. It's to live in untruth. I could say I don't want to. I could say I don't know how to. I don't care to. Those are truths. Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay the price. Now I'm honest, but I can't. It's like only a person who has forgotten who they truly are and is disconnected from the source of life that flows through them will default to saying they cannot do something slightly beyond your comfort zone. You can do it. You just don't want to do it.
So Nico, can you share a story of yours where you were operating from shame and how you shifted out of it?
For example, when I was in my late 20s, many things coincided at that time. I was in a relationship. It was an open relationship, because back then I thought those could work, and it was quite chaotic actually. And then I started tattooing on my own, so I was making very good money. And then I was working on the side, kind of part-time, as a dating and relationship coach. I remember that the relationship started breaking apart, and I spiraled, because I thought when she ended up saying, you know what, like, This is it. She broke it off. And I felt unworthy. I felt there was something wrong with me. I felt like, how dare she leave me? The whole relationship was me kind of having the upper hand. And suddenly she just left.
Mm.
And I started spiraling into just overworking, just making money, drinking, partying, going on dating apps, being with women. Tattoo artists get paid or tipped at least in cash. So I had a bag full of cash in my office. I didn't know how much money I had because people will pay me and I just put it there. And I was just working, 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 working because I didn't want to slow down and feel my grief, my rage, my pain over the breakup. There was one day that I woke up probably hangover from drinking too much and taking substances. And I think I was with some girl. She walked away. And I remember thinking, like, oh, I made it, attractive girls, money. I had started taking steroids at the time, took them for like 3 months. So I was like jacked.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, like sitting in my office and thinking, like, I feel completely empty. I feel miserable. It's the most women, money, health, although that wasn't health, that I had ever had, but I just felt completely disconnected. I realized afterwards. Often people think that shame looks like someone who's just hiding and feeling sorry for themselves. That's a version of it. It's a possibility. Someone that is very shy, self conscious, introverted. Shame can show up that way. But the most common form of shame, and that's why it flies under most people's radar, is high performance. Deep depression is the other side of the coin of grandiosity, and it's the coin of shame. I'm not good enough. So the depression is, so why bother? Why leave my bed? Why care about it at all? Like I'm just gonna come here and isolate, and I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. My life is not worth anything. So why even bother? But then you flip it, and you have grandiosity, which is I'm not worthy. So I want to spend my whole life chasing whatever I know or I hold as markers of status validation. Let me build a grandiose life so that people can remind me often enough, you're so good, you're so talented, wow, you're so strong, you're so lucky, you're so smart, whatever it needs to be. So that hopefully one day I'll believe it. Most of the business empires that you see today are built on the back of deep shame. Guys who are just out to get daddy's approval, but it's never enough. It'll never be enough.
Mm.
Someone that come from outside. But we see that Elon Musk, great example. If you ever see some interviews with his father, you can understand why that guy is the way that he is. It seems that guys that have big muscles and a lot of tattoos are liked. Maybe that's the
Mm.
way. Things that people with money are also liked. Maybe that's the way, right? Like trying to buy or earn my way out of unworthiness. And what had to happen for me was that it was a moment where I woke up, and maybe it was because I was hangover, maybe something else, and I just touched rock bottom. And I was crying. I looked in the mirror and I thought, what's going on? I've lost myself. I don't know who I am. So then I grabbed my laptop, took a flight, and bought myself a flight to Colombia.
Back home.
Back home, yeah, I was in Canada at the time. I went back home because I knew that in Toronto I had way too many bad friends. And I knew that if I stayed there, I'm going to drink, party, date, and those things were consuming me. So I just thought, I'm going to go to Colombia where I just know my family, and I'm just going to chill there until I feel that I'm stable. And in Colombia, many things happened, but one of the most important ones was that a friend invited me to drink. And I had heard that had helped people sometimes heal autoimmune diseases, physical complications, but also emotional things, trauma. And I didn't know much of it at the time. But I thought, you know what? If this can help me to at least forgive my ex for all she did to me and not be so angry about it, or if this can help me to stop drinking or stop abusing substances, then yeah, I'll give it a shot. Long story short, I attended a ceremony that changed my life completely. Ceremony where I started to understand. It took me through what felt like hell first. So I drank the medicine. First, I had to drink many cups because I was so numb and so disconnected that I was not feeling anything. But when I started feeling it, I started seeing my own chaos, my own darkness. I started seeing all the emotions that I was chasing in money, in women, in status. And I started remembering so many moments of my childhood, running away from my mom as she was about to beat me up, seeing my parents argue, like feeling unsafe, feeling unworthy, feeling that there's something wrong with me because the person that gave me life is hitting me. It took me through the root of all of these different stories. And I was crying and I was feeling anger and I was vomiting the stuff that I felt that I was carrying for so long, down to like I used to have a bit of a posture issue. And I remember just feeling like this posture had originated early on when I developed the story of this world is not safe. I'm on my own. So as a little baby, and I remember realizing it's a story that has been calcified in my system. And once I understood it, and I was able to cry out and feel and go through the emotions that that baby did not have the nervous system or capacity to do. Suddenly I'm vomiting, and then my posture improved overnight. Just whatever tension was holding the fascia around my back was whatever chemicals were there creating inflammation that was purged out. I had my first direct experience of what people refer to as God. And it was more real than anything ever that I have ever seen in my life. Like when I witnessed that presence, that the creator's energy, I started shaking. My shame came up. I'm not worthy of it. I've lied, I've cheated, I've treated women poorly, I've treated myself poorly. Like my shame came up, like I don't deserve this. And all I kept hearing is like, doesn't matter. Like, you're loved. So that day I forgave myself. I felt like I died and I came back. And above all, I understood that no matter what I've done, no matter what has happened, if I honor it and if I come back to the truth, which is we're good. Like I'm there's nobody on God's naughty list. There's no such thing. Nobody the path is so wide and so perfect that it's impossible to fall off it.
Mm.
The grace of life is so vast that even if we try, we could not twist God's hand not to love us, not to be there for us. And that therefore any limitation or stagnation lies just in our perception or our refusal or to feel what was there, to give that the place it deserves and move forward. You know, we don't need to stay stuck there, but we can feel it, acknowledge it, and move forward. After that, I lost, most of my friends. I stopped drinking. I stopped partying. Most of the habits I had, the places I used to frequent, I didn't even like the same kind of food or the same kind of music. When we're willing to drop the stories and the masks that we've lived with, we start realizing that what we actually cared for was very different. Anything we want to create in our life that is not here already will require that we change. Because the fact that it's not here means that as I am right now, I don't have what it takes. I'm not in alignment to that just yet. If I was already in a place where I am in alignment to be a father, I will have children. To run a $1 billion business, I will have it. The fact that I don't have it is proof that energetically in frequency, I'm not a match to it just yet. So understanding that I don't have what it takes, it's a great realization because it means that for me to have it, I need to change. The me who I've been so far has the life that I have so far. Beautiful things and also with all of its absences. The things that are not working are also a result of who I'm being. Therefore, the most beautiful thing of what we want to create, a big podcast, a big business, a retreat center, a family, or great health in our body, is that to manifest something that we don't have in our life, it has to change us. If we were already there, we will already have it. We don't have it, we need to change. And that's the whole point, to let our dreams be the chisel that transform us into someone we don't know ourselves yet. And that's the beauty of it. We may think that it is the podcast that I want, or the business, or the family, or the six pack for whoever cares for those things. The price that we had to pay to get there, the person we became, the max we shed in the process, That was the real payoff. Like, sure, you have children, can be great, but more than that, is like arriving to a place where I'm excited to be generous and inclusive with another life, or have enough wisdom where I feel that I would love to bring another life and that they'll be better off than me. And maybe have enough stability financially to know that I'll be present and not pass on my dad's absence. And right,
Mm.
preparing towards that will make me a different man. And that's whether I have a child or not. That's the gift.
Mm. So the lesson here I am getting is that shame makes you hide and blame,
Hmm.
but responsibility makes you ask, how can I create value for others? That's the real wealth switch. For the listeners, if you're stuck in shame, try this. Where are you blaming others for your situation? What's one area you can take full responsibility for today? I've done the inner work, but I still feel empty or stuck. How do I find meaning and move forward?
The question of meaning is symptomatic of a disconnection from life. You never find a person who's making love to the woman of their dreams or watching a beautiful sunset thinking, what's the meaning of all of it?
Hmm.
The question of meaning is not a question to answer. When the question arises, it's symptomatic of disconnection. If I'm asking myself, what's the point? Life is not inviting me to find the point. But the real question is, why am I so disconnected from this that it has to have any additional meaning?
Hmm.
The question of what's the point arises when we have isolated ourselves into our head and we're distant from our heart and our life experience. So, to any person asking, oh, what's the point? What's the meaning of all of it? What's the purpose? I invite you to consider that the question itself is the sickness. And that is reminding you that you have disconnected from feeling alive. When you feel alive, you don't have these questions.
Hmm.
So the journey is back to the heart, back to the body, back to truth, back to what's real.
And to experience what it is,
Yes,
exactly how it is.
exactly. Yeah. The most blissful thing that can happen in our life is for us to be fully present. That's why enlightenment it's not a destination, it's a homecoming. Self-realization is the simplest and most profound experiences that we can have in our life because it was here all along.
Hmm.
That's why it's called the present. Like, it's a present, it's God's present for us, but we don't unpack it.
Hmm.
So we miss it.
That's right. So you say that the final step in healing is being of service.
Mm.
Why is giving your gift away so important?
Otherwise, if you don't do it, you're going to be constipated with energy and that's going to destroy you. We are parts of nature. A tree absorbs a lot of light, comes from Father Sun, from the sky. It deals with a lot of shit from the manure on the earth, and it produces fruits and flowers as a result. Same, we deal with a lot of shit as human beings. Human life is rough. There's pain, there's suffering, there's trauma. But we also have a lot of light that comes towards us from God or spiritual teachers, guides, prophets, scriptures. But eventually, it has to manifest as fruits. We need to feed somebody. It's the right order of things. So, not sharing our gifts is a guaranteed way to get sick.
Hmm. So I found that helping others is often a thing that gets you out of your own head. Did you have a moment where service changed everything for you?
Yeah, the moment I was given the responsibility of taking care for a fire during ceremonies, I realized, oh, maybe I'm not a patient. Maybe I'm not broken because I'm helping people and helping them navigate their own processes. I'm responsible for taking care of the heart of the ceremony, which is the fire. I started seeing myself as someone who is supportive and not just here to receive, someone who has something to contribute.
Hmm.
That changed because suddenly I came at home. I'm not drinking, I'm not partying, I'm not, because I'm thinking, I take care of ceremonial fires. Who I am, the identity that I embraced was different. I don't do these things because I have this responsibility.
Hmm. The meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose is to give it away. Healing is completed when you start sharing your fruits.
Mhm.
Okay, so Nicholas, we'll just end it with the quick rapid fire.
Mm.
What's one belief you have completely changed your mind about in the last few years?
That I can do it alone.
What's a daily practice or ritual you can't live without?
Gratitude.
If you could put one message on a billboard for millions to see, what would it say?
Breathe.
What's a failure you are now grateful for?
Divorce.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Chill. Gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, Nicholas, it was lovely having you here. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on the journey of healing, acknowledging what we as humans are going through,
Mhm.
and then growing into our life and not keeping the wisdom by ourselves.
Mm.
Just keep it out there, share it with the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.